Whoa, what we are going into is the next world reserve currency reset. And if you're like, what the heck is a world reserve? Well, my friends, let me tell you about the old days. The old days during the World War II era up to now, the US dollar was the world reserve currency, meaning people all over the planet would technically hold US dollars behind the scenes in their banks, US government bonds, because they trusted the US government. They trusted the US dollar. But just in the last year, with the start of the trade war and then the implications with Trump withdrawing from 66 organizations, World Health Organizations, on top of the airstrikes in Iran that happened in July, on top of President Donald Trump and the American military kidnapping Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela, well, public consumer trust for American bonds is no longer a thing. People do not trust America. In fact, even Europe themselves, who is the biggest beneficiary of American dollars, or used to be in times past and usually supports America a lot, has dumped US bonds in record numbers. But it gives rise to a new world reserve currency. And in this video, we want to tell you where this world reserve currency, who it's going to be, why they are publicly announcing that they're going to be the new dominant system, and what it means for you as an American citizen.
Yes, guys, so make sure you like the video. And I have a quick question to leave a comment. Do you trust the American system? Leave a comment below, yes or no. Because this is very interesting. Like, even American citizens, and I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you're probably an American citizen. So the question is, do you trust the system of America? Do you trust in the dollar, in the U.S. Currency? So leave a comment below and let us know.
Now, let's go back in time to the post-World War II era, because after World War II, the Bretton Woods system crowned the dollar as the world's currency reserve system. The heydays of America, the days where the US passport was number one, the dollar was number one. America was the place to be. They didn't have any other competition on the planet, and it most likely was not, and it most definitely was not going to be the country that I'm about to discuss. But listen, nations held the US dollar then. They traded it, settled oil, debt, and diplomacy, all circulating through the US dollar. And in return, the United States received something rarely discussed out loud: privilege without friction, cheap borrowing, global trust, and a passport that opened doors that nobody could question. But reserve currencies do not last forever. Before the dollar was the Great British Pound, before the pound was the Dutch guilder, before that, the Spanish silver. Every reserve currency follows this exact same pattern: rise, dominance, overuse, hello hyperinflation, dilution, and then replacement. And now quietly, we are watching the beginning of another turn in history. So you and I right here, you and us, we are at the cusp of a new world order in history in which the US dollar, I can guarantee you, is not going to be the reserve currency. And over the last 2 decades, there's a nation that has dominated more than the US.
Yeah, so I was going to say that. That's a good point that you just said at the end. These things take time. It's going to take time for the U.S. dollar to decline because it was so dominant for a long, long time. So I know for us, it seems like, how do the U.S. dollar just kind of disappear in a way? It's not just going to be disappear. Like she was just saying, it's going to take decades, 2 decades to, weaken, to get out of that power of dominance. So this is happening in real time right now. So the currency that we are talking about is no other than the yuan, the Chinese yuan. So as we know, it's always talks about, just say in America, like politicians and, presidents, they say, oh, our enemy, our adversary is China or Russia. And because the Chinese yuan is really challenging the U.S. dollar. And really, when you think about it, this side of the world of China, just say like India,
The
you know,
eastern
yeah,
side of
the
the
eastern
world.
side of the world,
And Middle Eastern, and
yeah,
now European side.
exactly. So it's just like all the money that's kind of like going to America is the big players is really on the eastern side of the world. Of course, America and South America, the Caribbeans and stuff like that. But most of the money, most of the trading is on this side of the world.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because literally as we're speaking, Asia trade has just dominated in the last 12 hours. It's seeing a rise. And when the Asian trade cycles go up, like the Japanese hedge fund that we have loved to invest in and love to look at the cycles of the Japanese hedge fund where the Japanese hedge their money, they are rising fundamentally because the US is not trusted on a geopolitical storefront. And so China, Japan, their markets are rising right now, which is also pushing the cost of gold and silver back up. We previously saw that gold and silver had just lost large percentages, 17%, 20% in silver, up to 30% just in a week. But you don't think about the long picture of how gold has been up over 100-something% in the last year, looking at some of these different ETFs, these miners that have deals with Namibia, Canada, and the Middle East. You don't realize the behind the scenes that gold is really going to be the driver of the next world reserve, because when people do not trust the US dollar, you go back to the safe house havens, the place or the thing that was always the foundation of the world, which is resources and commodities like gold, silver, and copper. So what you're seeing in the market with the commodities is not the total dilution of commodities. It's not the end of the world. It's simply a correction where the market's about to pop right back up at rapid speed because the Asian economies do not trust the US. Not only the Asians, but remember, Canada themselves said that they are about to sign a contract with China, and President Donald Trump said, if you do that, I'm going to tariff you 100%. Denmark, Great Britain, France, and other European countries are quietly looking at Africa, more so East Africa. They can't really get into West Africa, and China and Japan for trade relationships outside of America. And so you have the Americas versus the rest of the world. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be the eastern side of the world that has that dominant currency. The Americas, their time is over.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about this, and I know we just had a talk about this earlier, talking about how the stock market and the bond market and the futures market and stuff like that. This started so long ago, right, in America. So I'm saying this because with the yuan and the information that was sent to me about what happened with China's gold. But we still have to know that America started this system, just say like the stock market. We definitely know the history of that. But they've been in this field for a long, long time before anyone else. And then once these other nations and other countries started to realize they can do it too, they did it. So recently I saw some information of it was 19.1 billion worth of gold held in the Chinese banks, and the citizens that was investing in there, they could not take it out. They couldn't they really couldn't do anything with it. So that's why I say you
That's
just
China.
have to you gotta know, like, okay,
Super surveillance.
they want to take over, but in the background or the systems behind the takeover, is it really worth it? Can they really sustain themselves for problems like this not to happen? Because this recently happened, and it's like, gotta be careful. But for us, we always say you have to hold different currencies. So this is why we always suggest you use the international bank account wise, because you can hold different currencies. You don't have to hold USD. You can hold Great Britain pound. You can hold euro. You can hold the yuan. You get what I'm saying?
You can hold the yen. You can hold a Japanese hedge fund stock ETF. You can hold a gold ETF that has miners in Namibia, Saudi Arabia, and Canada simultaneously, okay? Because you need to know how this all works. But listen to this. Energy deals between China and the Middle East are taking precedence over energy deals between America and the Middle East. This is going to cause a huge friction in the global economy, especially where America was concerned, because America historically had great ties with places like Saudi Arabia, where they would trade energy deals with them, they would trade oil with them. But China, China, though they have a few flaws, their pros outweigh their cons, because China gets around this world. China has the entire African continent connected into its economy. China is in every African country. The US knows they're already too late. They can't really be in any African country, quite frankly. And so even Uber just decided to leave Tanzania after 5 years, saying, hey, I can't really get into this market. So they're back to the American market. But China, they know how to negotiate in a way that Eastern civilizations, African civilizations understand. And that cultural value is the real value that China brings to the rest of the world, because they also trade with Australia. They're also about to do more trades with Europe, and they're already in talks with trading with Canada. But also get this. Bilateral trade agreements across Africa, Asia, and Latin America are changing things for the continent of Asia, with cross-border payment systems designed on purpose to bypass the US entirely. In fact, according to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the dollar's share, get this, y'all want to highlight this, y'all want to write it down and highlight it. The dollar's share of global foreign exchange in the early 2000s has fallen 70%. 70%. Just sit on that for a while. Since the early 2000s, the dollar's share of global foreign exchange has basically disappeared more than 3/5, more than even 2/3, because that's about 67%, okay? So it's still dominant, yes, but dominance erodes slowly over time. And then suddenly, but at the same time, China has methodically internationalized the yuan. They have kind of pre-marketed the yuan. I remember being just maybe 7 years old and my dad telling me, you're going to want to learn how to speak Chinese, and me being like, why would I want to learn how to speak Chinese? And now look at the world today. You should probably know some Chinese, okay? Because currency swap agreements are happening at record paces. The offshore yuan is clearing hubs, and inclusion of the yuan in the International Monetary Fund's special drawing rights basket was just initiated actually in 2016. The digital yuan pilots that move faster than legacy banking systems ever could in the world before. Another thing that China is really great at that can really give it that edge to become a dominant world power is their AI and tech revolution. I mean, China has increased at a rate, not just China, Singapore as well, Japan as well. Economically, that three-tiered system of those three countries have increased in rates that America has kind of died down at. America had its industrial revolution, and that really propelled America, but we're not in those ages. And so we're in a different age where it's more about technology and innovation, and China has taken that spot. Like if you were to go on TikTok and look up China technology, or even on YouTube to see Americans who tried China technology in Hong Kong, you're going to be utterly shocked. And the world wants these systems. Countries like Rwanda, South Africa, they are putting their bets in the Chinese yuan at the end of the day, and that's what it is. And this is not a revolution. This is a migration of systems, and migrations always change borders. But there's another part that most people miss. It's that currency shapes visa power as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, I know when my wife was just talking about how China is everywhere in Africa, pretty much everywhere in the world. Like, they don't move loud. They move very quiet. So I remember back in when we stayed in Tanzania, and I had to book a hotel for my mother-in-law and brother. And the hotel was saying, oh, it's booked out because we have all these Chinese that needs to go back to China because COVID and stuff. So I'm telling you, they book out all hotels, like the whole resort. And I'm telling you, it's probably way over 100 rooms. So luckily it was like a couple rooms open, but they were saying usually, you know, the Chinese government will pay for this. So when she was talking about visas and stuff, that's very important to know, because I know for us as Americans that I'll say that's really not unified, right? This really matters because these other nations, they don't move loud, they move quiet, and when they move quiet, they make sure they have a big group that's moving. So if that is happening, they are really talking to governments before they even enter the country. They are saying, hey, we have about 400 people coming, we need to book out this. So of course the government would be like, dang, okay, yeah, let's make some things work. Like you have, you know, 400 people coming every couple months. Of course we want you to come and spend money. So yes, the visa requirements is going to change quietly, but that's why it's important to keep up with this information, because, you know, currencies, it will change visa requirements.
Absolutely. You know, the dominant power has the visa power. The U.S. used to have the visa power, visa free for almost everywhere in the world, but we are seeing that dwindle away. We are seeing countries in Europe say no more visa free for Americans, go through the EES system. We're seeing countries in Africa like Namibia, who used to be visa free, say, you know what, we want you to pay for a visa. We don't want you to be visa free anymore. That shows you right there that the US is not the most dominant superpower. And if you look at Asian passports and even Asian countries and their alliances, you would soon find out actually they have a lot more visa free access. Portugal has more visa-free access than America at this rate. It's the third passport in the world right now, and this is an old ancient European kingdom. And so America is really stuck in this situation, and you are as well if you are stuck in America or feel like you're stuck, where you're like, okay, I see the world is shifting. I know I need to diversify, but the only way to diversify is for you to exit America. You can't diversify from your couch. People always say, how can I get a residency while still here in America? How can I open a bank account while still here in America? Most countries don't function like that. They don't want you to just be exploitative and take advantage. They don't want you as an American sitting in Miami, Florida, or Tampa, Florida, just sitting there like, okay, I have this other residency that I'm never going to use. No, they want you to bring value and ideas and innovation and entrepreneurship into their economies. If you can't meet them at that moment, then they're like, okay, we don't really need you because we got the other side of the world that actually is willing to bring innovation, that's willing to actually try. And so this is where China dominates, because China basically is the retail superhouse. Like the Walmart of the entire world is China. Everybody gets toys, clothes, books, everything from China, technology, semiconductors out of Taiwan, which is why China wants Taiwan back. Like a lot of the world's stuff comes from Asia. America doesn't really produce anything but stress, anything but bad healthcare, anything but huge, scrupulous, foolish amounts of debt. And so everybody's waking up and saying, oh, Babylon, America, you're not really that great. You've just been hyped up since World War II, but that era is long over. And so the world reserve currency could be China.
Yeah. So with that being said, the American dream is still valid, but it's just not in America. That's what it is. You like, if you are in America, there's no American dream. The American dream is somewhere outside of that society, of that system. Because you can take advantage of this dollar that is being weakened every year, every month, pretty much. So pretty soon, the dollar will be equal to a currency. Just say like, let's just say the yuan. It will be equal to that, and then it's going to be harder for people to travel, especially if you're not used to move or living in a place. That is very important that you really have to consider. If you wait too long, the dollar is not gonna have that advantage over these other currencies. As we
Yeah.
speak, I'm pretty sure it's getting weaker and weaker. So if you go somewhere, you better be prepared to pay US dollar.
Oh, right.
The
Right.
yeah, the amount
U.S.
of the
prices.
US prices.
Wow.
So it's important, y'all.
Wow.
Like you can't wait too long. Or you're just you're gonna move and it's still gonna be the same price that you pay in America. So just for example, if just say you have a house, right? 3 bedrooms. I'm not sure the amount, probably let's just say 2,500 a month, right? Now you're moving to another just say an African country. So your amount is probably going to be the same pretty soon.
Right.
Pretty soon. Your
Right.
cost of living will be the same.
That's
so if
true.
you wait too late, of course there's countries out here. I believe there's every country out here that has that local community that you need to learn how to move around in. Because once you come here and travel, you're gonna need that experience to learn how to move around. Like you can't move here and think that everything's like America. Cause look, Africa is only expensive if you make it expensive. You can move to local areas and make it sustainable, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
So the name of the game is like learn how to move around sooner than later. Because if you wait, you're gonna be paying the same prices as you pay in America.
That's so good, because literally there are countries that are up and coming. A Madagascar, a Vietnam, a Thailand. These are up and coming countries, but the low prices that you see right now, even Kenya, the low prices that you see right now are going to increase in the next 2-3 years, incrementally, like drastically in the next 2-3 years. So what you're saying is true. You don't want to wait to the last minute. People who wait to the last minute miss out. It's just what it is. People who prepare are the ones who are rewarded for their strategy, for their diligence. But again, you also need that strategy to understand, okay, if I'm only going across the world for a little bit of time, it's probably not going to be worth it. I really need to plan diligently a whole month ahead. Understand the systems that function in America do not work outside of America and Europe, and soon it'll just be outside of America, because Europeans are already saying that they're going to start their own social media channels for Europeans. Africans are going to start their own social media channels for Africans. So soon it's going to be America's just sitting over on that side of the world by itself with its own little stuff that everybody uses in America. Americans are still going to be a little bit psychotic, thinking, oh, everybody has Walmart. Everybody does not have Walmart. Oh, everybody has this app and everybody uses this system. I've heard that it works if you go to Great Britain.
Or I'll say
that's not how it works.
A good one. Everyone has like Uber. You get what
That's
I'm saying?
a good one.
Lyft.
Everybody does not have those.
They don't do their research. They come over here like, oh, let me just download the app, and yeah, you just gotta learn how to move around. That's point blank, period.
Speak to someone on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So it is important to know people that's on the ground that can have you make wise choices.
Yeah, and
you want
listen
to be
to
wise. If you don't want to go through certain things, you want to listen to the people that is giving you wisdom, and that means that you have wisdom too. If you don't listen, that's not wise. You're not going to have wisdom.
Right.
But the people that is telling you this and that, certain things to avoid, or certain
not
things
to do
that
this,
you
don't do that, do this.
That is wisdom.
Yeah, that was a great example with Uber, because Uber literally just said, we're leaving Tanzania. We have to go back to America. It is what it is. They can't really find their place in the market there. Meanwhile, Chinese companies have no issue going to Africa. Wonder why?
Because it's just a mindset thing. It's that side of the world, the mindset is just a little bit different.
It's much different.
I'm telling you. So Chinese, their culture is very similar to just
African culture.
African culture.
It is.
Yeah.
Because they're both family-oriented societies. They're both not really hustle, although on the outside, China looks like a place that's very much hustle. They move wisely. And so they still care about their lifestyle. They still care about, hey, I'm going to sip this hot tea in the morning for 2 hours before I go to work, or I'm going to sit down and enjoy this time with my family. Maybe they don't have a couch in China, because in China, a lot of times they like to eat food on their floor, Japan as well. And so it's a totally different cultural mindset, and they would relate better with African people than Westerners do, because Westerners are on this high Pharaoh mindset. We've been number one. We have this, we have that. But when you strip all of that away, what you're left with, if you do not change your heart posture and understand humanity outside of just the people that you are used to being around, what you're going to be left with is four walls, boxed in, you and your old American TV shows, and that's it. Like, leave the world behind. You're just going to be on repeat with the American TV shows, stuck wondering what you could have done different, because it's too late.
Yeah, guys, listen to that. That's the truth. I love how you broke that down.
Thank you.
But this is what we go over in the Mature Adult Intensive. Like, we tell you guys these truths. We want you guys to listen and understand what we are saying. Like, I believe that was like a perfect example of how behind the scenes we really talk to people and let them know like what's going on. Because that's the most important thing. I know we was just having a conversation earlier saying like, we can't fish for you. You get what I'm saying? We have to teach you how to fish, and you have to fish and get your own fish. That's the most important thing. We cannot hold your hand all the way through. The most important thing that's going to help you is you learning how to do it yourself.
Right.
So check the links in the description, guys. The Mature Adult Intensive is starting next week, next Sunday. So we only have
Cohort 5.
A couple more days.
Wow.
So sign up and get this good information that a lot of people just do not know.
Yeah, most don't, but we take the time so that you can have the information, and we provide your curriculum as well, because there's a lot to learn. This is a lot since 2020. A lot really has changed. Even when we look back on it, we are like, okay, a lot has changed in the world, and it's important that you understand these changes so that you can navigate the times ahead.
So guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like the video, leave your comments below. Check the links in the description, and we will talk to you in the next one.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.